Okay, for the fourth time, we are trying this with our crappy motel Wi-Fi. Should be live here, should be on YouTube. We're gonna make sure the stream's up. We're gonna have Ted double check it for us. It says we're live on this part, but it is not showing us on YouTube. There we go. Okay. So, just a fair warning for everyone. I mean, Ted, you can drop it in the chat or whatever. As long as the audio stays good, we're just going to deal with the choppy video. I doubt anyone's tuning in to see my face. It's just kind of annoying, but I do want to get these done. I'm trying to do them every single night, and unfortunately, this is what we have for tonight. So the video is going to be weird, but as long as the audio is smooth, it's not too annoying. We're going to roll with it. Ted, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. For reference, it's just your camera
Yeah.
that is choppy. It looks like the video itself is fine.
Yeah. Hey,
So
hey, man, when you're spending like $85 a night to stay at a motel in the Bay Area, in like the nice part of the Bay Area, not the shitty part of the Bay Area, like that's what you're gonna get. You're not gonna get good Wi-Fi. So is what it is.
I'd like to hijack the beginning of this show to talk about LeBron James going to the 76ers.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better player that was worse for the sport of basketball than LeBron. He would not sign a contract for less money with the Lakers. So what does he do? He goes and signs for the 76ers for, I think he's only making $8 million a year. Shameless ring chasing behavior. LeBron ain't like Mike. Would you say that? Are you drafting in the back end of the snake again?
11. It's the only thing I get, dude. It's the only thing I get. And at this point, we are going to try weird stuff. I'll take Genty or CD Lamb above Cook just to keep it weird. I cannot believe the way this has gone, dude. Every time.
I'm so glad that I haven't drafted enough to the point where I feel like I have to do weird things.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's a good one. So that's actually interesting. Do you want to roast me about Parker Washington or we can go down that road, or do you want to talk about diversification for the sake of diversification? Because both are pretty good. Both are pretty like hot topics in the fantasy community this week. I've been thinking about them both. Which one's more
I'm kind of
interesting?
beat. I've kind of beaten you over the head with a stick
Okay.
with the Parker Washington stuff.
Okay.
I mean, we could talk about diversifying, I guess.
Okay.
I do want. I today I did see a tweet that said Parker Washington is the next Miles Austin. The Parker Washington fans are just getting out of fucking control
Yeah.
with their love of that player. Best of luck to you, Parker Washington drafters. I won't be joining you though. But yeah, diversification for the sake of diversification. I think that I get it if you're maxing out your contests, right? Um, I mean, I just think that maxing out your contest to begin with is kind of degenerate behavior. I'm pro degeneracy, so like I'm not judging you or anything, but it just seems bizarre to me to not make the picks that you think are best just to get like a different portfolio. I guess wait, I mean I get it. I just wouldn't do it personally. But this is coming from a guy who did 16 drafts this offseason and called it.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just a casual.
I don't think it's a casual, dude. I don't know. Yeah, so this week I've been watching a lot of Liam Murphy because I had never seen him before. And they have like this cluster of it's Liam Murphy, who's the legendary upside guy, Pat Curran, and Sam Monson or whatever, the guy who won the best ball last year. They have three best ball mania takedowns between their crew of like seven guys. So like clearly they're doing something right that's yielding outlier results. So it's sort of interesting to watch them do drafts because I've been trying to learn like what are they doing, and I think maybe it is just that when you're doing like 1,500 rosters or 2,000 best ball rosters, like yeah, you know you probably should be diversifying just for the. Oh, there goes James Cook higher. Okay, Ashton Genty start. You probably should be diversifying just for the sake of diversifying. Um, you know what? We'll do a little Chase Brown, little Marion Hampton. Um, I watch him though, and like he really values. And again, dude, this is like a guy who's a millionaire and plus from fantasy football, from best ball fantasy, and ooh, who would you be taking here? Saquon, Brown, or Marion?
Saquon.
All right, we'll do Saquon. and he seems to really value like abnormal rosters that would not normally be put together. Um, but again, I think that's because in his mind, it's like I'm either going to win $2 million or this wasn't like that. You know, he doesn't really care about anything besides can I make that final push. So I don't know. I don't really think about it to be honest. Like in redraft, I mean, you've seen me a couple times. If I'm super in on someone for redraft, I'll draft them at like 50% to 75% of my roster because like I feel like they're an edge that could define the fantasy season, and I want that edge on all my rosters. And if I feel really good about it, I'll do it. But you know, even in redraft, that's probably a little stupid, right? One injury can derail like 75% of your fifth round picks. Um, I don't know, but I did.
Yeah, I mean, you got to mix in some Nate Borkirker in the
Yeah,
fourth round,
yeah.
and some Cade Klubnik, quarterback, fifth round. I drafted next to a guy the other day that I was drafting at the 1-3, and we had like the meme pick guy. So I got Bijan at 3, and then like he took a bunch of like guys without pictures. He took Katron Allen in the sixth round, Cade Klubnik in the fifth, like guys that are just like jokes. So I was able to get Nico Collins, George Pickens, Mike Evans, and Devontae Adams like in succession there. I was pretty thrilled about that. Um, I hope the contest doesn't get canceled because of that one guy.
Yeah, I saw a guy took Brees Hall at the 3 and then Geno Smith on the turn, back at the turn at the second, and that immediately got canceled. I saw that on Twitter today. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Do you think it's right for underdog to cancel contests that you're paying for just because like what if you were having the best draft of your life and there was some memer like in one of the spots and he just completely invalidates your work
I think that
by doing that?
I think it's wrong no matter what. Like no matter what, someone's getting screwed because the issue is right. I think people would actually go into lobbies and pay for 2 tickets, and it would be worth it to them to maybe have a chance to, you know, if one guy's drafting less seriously in like a Best Ball Mania lobby, that gives you whatever it is, an 8 to 10% better chance to make the playoffs. And I would guess that you would have like psychos that are super hardcore about it that would double enter these tournaments. I'd be happy with some T. Higgins this late, but this guy has no wide receivers.
Maybe we could get like the Pokemon botter community to make like
Oh,
the bots or whatever, and they do 12 accounts so you can have one account and 11 bot accounts so you can just handpick your team
see, I'm saying
instead of
like
play the ADP game.
I think that's what you would have guys doing is like weird stuff like that. So, God, dude, I
I
really,
guess I get it, but
yeah.
that's gotta suck. That's gonna suck for the other people in the lobby.
Yep, we have not gotten nearly enough Jalen Waddle, so we're going to take a little Jalen Waddle at the turn. Leaving Josh Allen kind of sucks, but I haven't drafted a lot of these, and I actually really like T. Higgins and Jalen Waddle. If I got that in redraft following up 2 RB1s, I would be thrilled.
So I saw Hayden Winks released his rankings
Mm-hmm.
for fantasy. Let me see if I can pull him up because he was extremely bullish on our friend Jalen Waddle. Let me see. Hayden tweets too much. Where are your rankings, buddy? Yeah, well, I can't find them. Oh well, but I saw Matthew Berry had Omarion Hampton as the player 19 overall on his board. So Matthew Berry, after taking Omarion Hampton, is like his ride or die last year, is now fading him.
Fading him.
Suspicious behavior.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, maybe he's salty about it. Who knows? Dude,
I think he pushed up. Hayden pushed up Malik Neighbors to 24. I
mm-hmm.
think he had Rasheed Rice at 27 or 28. So he was like fading Rasheed Rice, in on Neighbors, in on Waddle. It's really interesting to see like who the content creators guys are gonna be. If you had to like flag our guys for this year, what would you say? Like if we had a Mount Rushmore of guys we were telling people to draft this year, what would it be? I definitely think James Cook is
James
on
Cook
that
is
Mount Rushmore.
James Cook is the biggest one. I think it'll be like a defining moment in our program if James Cook is RB3 over JT and Christian McCaffrey, and I prefer him there. That's the big one. Certainly there. I think you and I have both been pretty aggressively in on like Terry McLaurin in the fourth, but I don't know if that's that creative. I just noticed that we've taken a ton of him when we can. I mean, there's further back ones: Tucker Kraft, Rashid Shaheed. I know Tucker Craft is like a big one for both of us. I think that's going to be
Yeah,
really.
I think Kraft makes the Mount Rushmore. I don't know if
Yeah.
Terry does because we're so spread out in our wide or round four wide receivers, but I'd
No.
say James Cook, Tucker Craft, probably Rashid Shaheed is the late round one, and then we got to come up with one more. We'll figure it out. But yeah, we're kind of constructing our list of guys that we've been telling you to draft a lot of.
Not really thrilled with Carnell Tate here, but the guys I was really into went. I do want to keep taking him. See, this is what you're not supposed to do. So this is what's been stressing me out about watching Liam's content. He basically said if you're just going along and pinging at ADP, you do not have a roster that can compete because there's going to be 150 rosters that are entered with that, you know, that composition. We're going to go Joe Burrow here with T against. I don't take a lot of Joe Burrow, but when I have a stack like that, I do want to take advantage of it. So we'll take Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I it definitely want to correlate in underdog lobbies for sure.
Yep. Um, Seeing a lot of Chris Rodriguez as Liam Cohen's guy. Time to fade Tootin. I like that debate. I like the corollary people are making between the Chase Brown and Zach Moss conversation and the Tootin and Chris Rodriguez conversation. I think there's maybe some elements of that that are valid. The problem for me was that Chase Brown, the reason that me and Ted were both pretty overweight on Chase Brown that year that he broke out was because he had taken a substantial RB1 3-down workload in college. Chase Brown was a workhorse for a period in college, and I thought if given the opportunity, he could take a workhorse role that included passing downs and short yardage work, which he now has. Tootin was not that kind of prospect coming out. He was a mid-round draft pick like Chase Brown was. And then the other issue is Chase Brown was going in like the 9th or 10th round. Tootin's now going in the 5th. Like if you leave Tootin on the board, you are leaving a lot of receivers that could break out this year. You're leaving elite quarterbacks, sometimes elite tight ends. I don't really know how. I mean, part of me just says do the arbitrage play where you just take the cheaper guy 50 picks later, and if Tootin ends up exploding, you let it go. I just also really do feel like if Tootin gets the red zone role in like 60% of their rushing work, I mean, he certainly could be a league winner, right? And especially like in a 2 running back build. Do you have a strong lean on that one way or another? Is like Tootin someone you're keying in on, or are you just going to take your shots on Chris Rodriguez?
I mean, I want to take some shots at the Jaguars backfield. The issue with Tootin right now for me is just the ADP, right? So the way I've liked to draft is I like to go running back or early, or at least get one running back in the boat. And I've been drafting a lot of wide receiver around that fourth, fifth round, right? I feel like Tootin kind of, I'm going to call it the running back dead zone, even though I do think there's value there this year, but he kind of falls in that weird area where if I feel like he's going to be drafted by teams that are going like wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver in the first 3 rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you ask me who I prefer between who goes around there, like Quinshon Judkins, Trevion Henderson, Bayshaw Tootin, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, like I have Tootin like in the middle of that grouping. Like I prefer Monty and probably Swift to
Yeah.
Tootin, but
Yes.
I like Tootin, and I think if I had to bet or whatever on what the outcome would be, I do think it will be Tootin this year. But I have been taking my shots as we do in underdog lobbies, right? On like the speculative backfield partner. Like I have a lot of Chris Rodriguez in my portfolio now. I'm starting to build a Woody Marks position. Like those are total like best ball picks where you're drafting late and you're just looking for upside. So I'm in. Just like I'm not gonna
Not
reach all
gonna.
the way down to get him.
Yeah, you're not gonna
Force
chase
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a really hard time. I think in Yahoo, I think in basic redraft, he's going to be more like a 6 round pick, and that's pretty stomachable on price. But you are still leaving some pretty premium assets on the board to go for that, like especially at receiver. Like Mike Evans is actually at the almost the 6 round on Yahoo right now. I don't think he'll hold there. But like, am I leaving a Mike Evans on the table for a Baishal Tootin? There's just no way. And then, depending on how high you are on like Roma Dunze or Christian Watson, like those are 2 guys that in their best case scenario this year could be top 15 wide receivers, right? Am I going to leave a top 15 wide receiver on the board for the risk profile of Tootin? I have a hard time stomaching that personally. I've still got to decide how I
If you
feel
have
about it.
well, if you have three wide receivers in the first four rounds,
Right, right,
right?
right.
And it's like here I can take Christian Watson as my wide receiver four, Bashal Tootin. So I think it's more of like a team construction
Well,
pick.
so that's what I was thinking about. Where I think I'll take Tootin is, you know how we keep hitting those builds where you start off with Chase or Puka, and then you come around at the turn and it's Nico Collins, AJ Brown, Drake London, and so you take one of those, and then you come around at the other turn and maybe it's like Rashi Rice or Devontae. You don't want to leave the value on them. If I have three wide receivers that I think are pillars, and then I'm coming around to the 4 or 5, at that point I would like take Tootin and Henderson, and because if those guys hit and they're like their 95th percentile outcome, that roster is going to win the league. And you know, you're so thin there at that point. I'm worried less about stability. I know that's a weird, like, maybe contradictory thing, but once Monty and Swift are off the board, I think I would just like to take those two guys and like hope for the best. I think they have a floor of like an RB3, a middling RB3. But
Yeah, like Quinshon Judkins goes around that range too.
yeah.
Quinshon's someone that I'm not. I love the talent of the
Oh,
player. I'm just not in on the Derrick Henry of the Browns,
oh,
coming off a catastrophic injury.
Bo Nix double stack right there in front of me. We'll open up. I've really been taking, no, who did I want to take? Romeo Dobbs. They said Romeo Dobbs is going to play the slot in New England, and he's one of the highest rated slot receivers in the NFL over the last few years. I am extremely interested in slot work Romeo Dobbs.
If that's true, the Pop Douglas owners are in shambles.
Well, no, Pop Douglas went to Miami. Yeah, he's in Miami.
Oh, is he?
Yes, sir.
Dude, he's got to be better than Malik Washington.
Isn't he?
He's got to be.
Let me double check.
Here, no. I'll pull it up on my phone. It's fine.
New England Patriots. Oh no, is it the other Douglas that's in Miami? Look up Miami's.
Sewell Douglas.
Look up Miami's wide receiver depth chart.
Okay. Yeah, it says Pop Douglas is still on the Patriots.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong about that. But I am going to start going in on Romeo Dobbs at this price range, because that's very affordable to me.
This has got to be the funniest depth chart of all time. They have Malik Washington, Caleb Douglas. That's probably
Caleb
who you were
Douglas.
thinking of.
Okay, yeah, my bad.
Theo Weiss Jr., Terrence Marshall Jr., Jalen Tolbert, Chris Bell, Taj Washington, AJ Henning, Tutu Atwell is the Dolphin this year, Kevin Coleman Jr., Jalen Rager, and Donovan McCulley.
All right. Yeah, so my bad. Wrong Douglas. But so with Romeo Dobbs, though, dude, if he's actually going to be the full-time slot receiver for New England, like we kind of saw what Stephon Diggs did in that role last year. He was like really productive there, and Drake May's really good at feeding that slot role. I could see Romeo Dobbs getting up to 6 to 7 targets a week, and like probably is the clear-cut wide receiver 2 there on like what I think is going to be a pretty prolific offense. I am now gonna start mixing in Romeo Dobbs here, and I kind of want to start throwing him on as my wide receiver 4 or 5 in redraft. Not that you think you're ever going to start him necessarily. I think though he's going to be a pretty good value pick going in like the 120s, 130s of redraft. So now I'm interested in that. Brett Whitefield, the film guy for Fantasy Points, was ranting and raving about how cool it would be if we get slot roll Romeo Dobbs this year, and he made a very compelling case. So,
I mean, I feel like if he does get that role, he's like kind of like a floor play. You know what I mean? Like I don't see the upside with it to be like a smash at ADP, but I think he will be able to be inserted into lineups.
yeah.
Yep. Given points when you need it.
Yep.
Bye week coverage, that type of stuff.
So we're going to take a naked Malik Willis, get some rushing upside on the roster. I love the stat. Oh, 2 week 6. Okay, so we'd have to take someone else here. Maybe we'll just build out a nice quarterback room and take the Cam Ward, Carnell Tate stack. I haven't been taking a lot of Cam Ward. I do really like that statistic that came out this week. No quarterback has ever finished less than a QB 12 when rushing at least 100 times this year. I do believe Malik Willis rushes at least 100 times this year. So we will take him. Now maybe because I have Burrow, maybe instead of reaching to create the stack, I've been taking so much Rashid Shaheed. I just think there's a gigantic tier break after Rashid Shaheed to these guys. Doesn't that feel like that? Doesn't he feel like he's like that last security blanket pick back here?
I'm load McMillan back here. He's another guy I'm drafting. Like you, because Rashid started to bubble up a little bit
Yeah, he's
in
up.
drafts. Like the
Yeah,
rims are getting sharper, and I'll miss him a lot.
yeah.
And then I just go in around later and get Jalen McMillan as like a wide receiver 4 or 5, and I'm usually pretty happy about it.
He's up like 10 points since you and I started really pinging him. As he probably should be, right? I think for best ball format specifically, he's like a wonderful archetype. That's another one for redraft. Like if he's your wide receiver 5, if he's going late enough and you have like 4 guys you feel great about, that's probably like the kind of guy I'll throw in there as a wide receiver 5, see if it goes anywhere.
So you got entirely quarterback and tight end in your queue.
Yeah, I would love to get Brenton Strange here. That's my little safety blanket back in this range, but I would take a nicer quarterback here, I think. Um, I'm pretty happy with the wide receiver room. I think I could honestly just leave it there at 7 or at 6 and maybe add one guy really late, but that's like I'm pretty happy if that's my room going into it. What do you think? Do you see anyone in the queue you are super high on?
Oh, I'm having to look at the stream to see because you're like a
Sorry.
giant pixel on my video feed. It's a pretty good wide receiver room. I don't like Carnell Tate personally, but it's deep.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's the wide receivers. I got Jordan Mason as the third volume back here, if assuming he gets the starting role. Do want need one more quarterback because of these 2 bye weeks, and then obviously tight end. But tight end can go get Greg Dulcich and Gesicki towards the end. You know.
oh yeah, total Greg Dulcich roster if you have
Yeah.
Malik Willis.
Yeah. So like if it's not like, yeah, we'll see. Jonah Coleman's been sliding a little bit, and I'm very high on Jonah Coleman. He is both a receiving back and a power back for the Broncos. I continue to tack him on when I can. What do you think? Travis Hunter, 10 picks past ADP, not terrible. That's another guy, like, if he's my wide receiver 6 in redraft and I'm just holding him for a week or two to see if he does anything before I drop him, that's a guy I'll probably end up picking up in, like, round 13, 14 of 15 round drafts.
Yeah, man. Travis Hunter in the 13th round
Yeah.
is much more, I think, appropriate for what that player is. Like,
Yeah.
I remember Travis Hunter was one of the guys I relentlessly crapped on people for taking last year. A
Yep.
lot of the slappies pushed him up to round 4 or 5, and it did not work out for them.
We will.
We got like one good week of Travis Hunter, and then he immediately injured his knee and is out for the season. And now we get to live in like the what if world, the I wasn't wrong world.
Yes, that's
Like, no, it
exactly
was
what it is.
about to happen.
That's
It was
exactly.
about to happen. He got injured. I just got unlucky.
I
Like
call
that's what those guys will tell you.
I call that everyone getting what they want out of the situation. The anti Travis Hunter crowd gets to say, "Look how shitty he was when he was rolling." The pro Travis Hunter crowd gets to like point to that one week and go, "This is what was coming, man." Um, okay, actually, that's a good segue though. We should hit the Parker Washington discussion because that's one you're pretty adamant about, and I really do think it's a 50, not even 50-50. I think the odds are that Brian Thomas Jr. is the right call based on a bunch of factors, but I think it's Parker Washington. So like I was really thinking about that today about how embarrassing. So it's a week 6 bye. I don't know if Mendoza's even starting by week 6. So that's going to be a Geno Smith, Jacoby Brissett pull there, and then we'll try to get Greg Dulcich to stack up here. But he is already the tight end 3. What's left on the board? We're going to white knuckle it to the end here. So I was thinking about it today, right? That I don't ever want to get to the point where because I'm worried about being embarrassed by an opinion I genuinely hold, I don't say it. So, and like, you shouldn't just, that doesn't mean you shouldn't care when, if you get something embarrassingly wrong, that beating you take is what keeps you honest and keeps you working hard and evaluating your process. So you shouldn't not care about the beating. And I take it very personally. But I can't get to the point where like I'm so worried about that type of criticism, especially now that I'm putting stuff in writing, that I don't say what I think, because I just think that's important. I think, oh, there goes Greg Dulcich all the way up there. God, man, brutal. I just think that's part of like like I could just regurgitate ADP and ECR to people, but does that really matter? You can just go read ADPs and ECR, and then what am I good for? I think you do have to look for like, well, what really moves me in fantasy? And for me, it's just this weird thing. I just know what I saw with Parker Washington, in my opinion. I think when you go back and watch his film, it's like I think they found something with a year 3 breakout and a super athletic player. Um, it just seemed to me like it makes a whole lot of sense for him to be Liam Cohen's next heavily used slot receiver. This is a continuum that's gone from Cooper Cup to Chris Godwin, his days in Tampa Bay, now to Parker Washington and Travis Hunter having big games, right, from the slot. So I don't. It's a take that I'm literally nervous about. It is stomach turning to have a strong opinion on that because I think there's a high probability you get embarrassed being super in on a guy like that. I just So to me, what are we risking in redraft? We're risking an eighth round pick. An eighth round pick when Liam Cohen's slot receiver, like 3 of the last 5 years, has been a wide receiver, a top 5 wide receiver, if not a wide receiver 1 or 2. So that's the risk. I might get a wide receiver 3 or 4 when I pay wide receiver 3 or 4 prices, and the upside is I might get a top 5 wide receiver, and I'm supposed to not do that because it's going to be
There is
embarrassing.
no world he will ever be a top five wide receiver.
He was for the back 5 games of the season.
Yes, that there is no way. There is no way we finish the season. I will fry my hat and eat it if Parker Washington finishes a top five wide receiver this year. But I will say that if the redraft price is eighth round, that is more stomachable, right? And I think that's closer to where he should be going. The issue is like in especially underdog lobbies, he's just gotten kind of bubbled up. And I never really have an issue. I've said this before. I never have an issue with the player. I have an issue with the price. And it feels like you're buying at like the high right now. I just don't. There's enough uncertainty in that wide receiver room, right? Like they paid and traded to get Jacoby Myers on the team. Like I think Jacoby Myers could eat off his plate. I think that if Travis Hunter is more involved in the offense for any reason, right, that could eat off his plate. Like let's say, for example, not even Parker Washington, but let's say Brian Thomas Jr. goes down, right? And maybe the Jaguars say, "Hey, we need Travis Hunter to play more offense." Like, who do you think's going out wide? Do you think it's Travis Hunter?
I do think it would be Travis Hunter there because Parker Washington isn't a. That's part of why I think so. Is like Parker Washington. It would be weird to put him outside. He's a slot receiver. So, but I think both Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. I think is a fixture outside. I think he's just an X receiver. But
Yeah,
that argument can work both ways though, right? If Brian Thomas Jr. is just an X receiver, that means he has a defined and established role that's not going anywhere. Whereas Parker Washington plays in the slot where Jacoby Myers is a really good slot receiver, and so is Travis Hunter. So you know what I mean? There's definitely, and then also like pedigree wise, dude. Parker Washington, I believe he went to Penn State. He was not a touted prospect coming out, whereas Brian Thomas Jr. had the third greatest rookie season of all time, and some people thought he was going to be a Hall of Famer, like Jim Harbaugh was really trying to get him on his team. So I also think, dude, I think there's a lot of reasons to just laugh at Parker Washington bullishness, but that, again, right? I can't not say it if I really believe it. I really believe Parker Washington's going to be their lead receiver this year. Vegas does too, for whatever that's worth. He's projected the highest out of all of them, but that also reflects where the money's going. You know, if like a bunch of money's coming in on Parker Washington, his line's going to move. So that's not necessarily like saying Vegas agrees in that take. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's something I'm very preoccupied with because I think one of those two guys, especially in Yahoo, where you're getting them at pick like 80. Uh, God, dude, like one of those two guys is going to be a kingmaker for redraft. So I'm what I'm going to do either way is I'm going to be brave in almost every draft, and I'm going to take a shot on one of them. I just, yeah, yeah, it's weird. I think
you're
that's
also putting faith in Trevor Lawrence too when you do that. Like
yeah,
when you're going well above ADP to go get a guy like
yeah,
that, you're also buying into the offense too. Like I am totally convinced of Liam Cohen being a an elite offensive play caller
yeah,
and someone whose pieces in the offense I want, but I still, and I've been on record saying this, I still don't trust Trevor Lawrence. So it's like, okay, the role I think is a little weird for Parker Washington. I'm not sold on the talent. I like the coaching and the scheme, but I'm not sold on the quarterback either. And I will say also, it is much easier to be a hater because when you just kind of make fun of
yeah,
the fantasy flavor of the week guy and they get it right, you can just say, "Oh well, I guess they were right," right? And you kind of
yeah,
weasel your way out of it, kind of like I did with Devon Achane, one of
yeah,
my most hated players for years, and now I'm just he kind of showed me last year that he can have traditional rushing success, and I just kind of slowly took my L. I quietly took my L. I
Yeah.
didn't have to get out there and be
Yeah.
like, "Hey guys," I didn't have to go on an apology tour for that. I was just like, "Hey, maybe I was a hater," and I could
Yeah.
quietly stop hating so much.
Yeah, dude, I think that's a great point. So, real quick, the team again. Dude, I don't know what it is. I can't find my groove here. Like lately, I haven't really liked any of the teams I've been doing, but this one's fine. Joe Burrow, Malik Willis, Geno Smith. Malik Willis for the spike weeks on the rushing. Joe Burrow stacked with T. Higgins. Geno Smith is just some float when I have 2 6-week buys. Geno Smith had like 4 or 5 games over 20 points last year because of the rushing upside. So he continues to be one of my favorite guys. I just throw in here hoping he spikes every now and again. Ashton Genty, Saquon Barkley, Jordan Mason. Very happy with that as a core 3. 2 big shots on Jonah Coleman and Jaden Blue. Jonah Coleman is who I believe would be the most direct replacement for J.K. Dobbins if he goes down, so I think he would be like the short yardage back there should the worst occur. T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Carnell Tate, Cortland Sutton, Romeo Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed, Travis Hunter. I'm actually really happy with that wide receiver room, especially for not taking one until the 3rd round. That's pretty good. And then this tight end room, very much a hero tight end. Tucker Kraft, Kate Otten, Eli Stowers. That's Tucker Kraft save us. You don't want to have to rely on those other 2. Although Stowers is getting some steam as the slot in Philly, so that's pretty exciting.
The last report I heard is that Grant Calcaterra is slated to be the tight end too, and Eli Stowers is not going to see the field. But you never know. The camp reports they're always changing.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's just I would have taken Gesicki. Gesicki went. Maybe I should have taken all junior. Eric all 12. Dude, there's no way. It never ends. Okay.
Well, I mean, this is just the law of averages. You do
no, sir.
Drafts and
no.
Did you just see how I'm constantly drafting at the 1-1?
Yeah.
You're saying, why isn't it me?
No.
This is me every year in redraft.
Yeah. We'll see how I do in redraft this year. I'm fine with either the first 4 or the back 4. Totally fine with either one. I don't necessarily want to get that 5, 6, 7 spot. That's not great. 5, 6, 7. 8's even tolerable. I would just say 5, 6, 7. I'm a little bit queasy about.
I'm starting to wonder, right? Like, if there's enough people that watch the content and I drafted, I don't know, near the back of the snake, I might not be able to get James Cook. like that's a very real. If you're drafting at like 11 and you miss James Cook, this is gonna make me sad. Or 10.
So, in my opinion, I think James Cook is going to become really trendy here really soon. If the coaching staff keeps talking about expanding his receiving role the way they are, and people start to realize like what happens if he catches another 15 or 20 passes this year, if he catches like 10 to 15 more passes, we might be talking about someone who's nipping at the heels of the Bijans and Gibbs of the world. That's why I have him as my running back 3. I think that's going to become really trendy. I do not think you're going to be able to get 1-2 turn James Cook, but there are still enough content creators that seem to not like him. So maybe. But
I'm just like having this awful vision in my brain of like going into our home league drafts, and then I end up with a round 1 Christian McCaffrey. There's like a falling Christian McCaffrey, someone comes up on James Cook, and I'm just like stuck with that. And not only is like Christian McCaffrey's tough for me because number 1, I'm just kind of out on the idea of him this year, 30 years old, coming off the highest workload of his year, dropping production, or I guess rushing efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, I'm a Niners fan too. So if it goes poorly, like make no mistake, I think that if Christian McCaffrey has a bad season, the Niners are up a creek. Right?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
you can have your fantasy ship go down with your rooting interest ship all at once.
Yep.
Like last season for me was the season from hell with the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl. And then I can just foresee myself being forced into a Christian McCaffrey roster and then having that go up gloriously in flames too.
Mm-hmm. Please take Justin Jefferson and Ashton Genty here. Little Justin Jefferson, Ashton Genty. I just continue to. I want to keep being bullish on this. I want to continue to take my swings at Omarion Hampton. Very straightforward thesis. I don't even think it needs that. I think it's being way overthought by the fantasy community. It's the exact same reason that I drafted like 30% George Pickens last year in redraft. And expected fantasy points per game. Oh, do I do my first?
Yeah, I was going to ask who has to go off the board for you to consider some Justin Jefferson.
Okay, we'll do it. I mean, I'm not. I hate that's my first share of him. He's my least favorite first round pick. He's someone that I almost certainly will have none of in redraft, but he goes in the second round. We'll do second round Justin Jefferson and start 3 wide receiver. But for the record, in redraft, I would take every single running back over Justin Jefferson. Like, I wouldn't even think about it. I would take AJ Brown over Justin Jefferson. But because I have none of it, I will we'll do it. What were we? Oh,
I'm trying to think of where I would draw the line. I I would take Hampton first. I would take Barkley first. I'd take Chase Brown first, probably.
yep,
I
absolutely.
might slide Jefferson in between the Achane and Henry area. So I mean, if it gets that far, I might end up with some more Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, let's see what this dude got because he got Cook. He probably followed him up with Saquon. Oh no, that's the old board. This board doesn't look as good because of my shitty Wi-Fi video. Like looks terrible on the stream. I'm like looking on the left. Okay, I'm not logging in. No, get out of here. I guess we can just look at it right here. So he went Cook Achane. That's an interesting one. I don't mind Devon Achane as much as like the fantasy community seems to. I think he's going to catch 100 balls this year. He took 55% of his snaps last year out of the slot. Like you might be getting the team's wide receiver one that's also going to rush like 5 to 6 touchdowns. So I think that's fine.
I was watching the Fantasy Domain guys, and Nathan, aka the Bug from the Flock League, was talking about how Devon Achane is not a risky pick at all and risk free, because he said, well, look at all his receiving work that he gets. It doesn't really matter if they're in the red zone that much. He doesn't count on touchdowns. And I was like, are we not even considering what missing Mike McDaniels and adding an entirely new quarterback would do to dump off rates? Like I think that Achan is definitely a risky pick. Like I wouldn't call him a safe pick by any means, but there is enough upside there, and he showed me enough like ability to rush the ball well that I'll take him in the second round, but it is a risky one.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a like I don't think safe is the right word. I do think there's a lot of floor there though that maybe people don't realize because like the receiving work, dude, I don't think that's going like I don't think it's going totally away. And that does give you a level of floor. So I feel pretty comfortable with Achan. Like, should I have to take him? I'm just not going to take him above like Saquon and Omarion. There's just no way.
Oh, definitely not. But it's like, I mean,
Yeah,
you remember last year all of the design dump offs or whatever, right? That
yeah,
Tua would
yeah,
feed
yeah,
him.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how many of those red zone bizarre like targets that he'd get turn into Malik Willis scrambles? You know what I mean?
Quite a few. Quite a few. Yeah, I don't know, but so I would say though. So would I call him a safe pick? No, but is there more floor there than the fantasy community thinks? Yeah, I think so. He took over 50% of his snaps from the slot last year. I think he's going to get a lot of slot work. Christian McCaffrey last year, I believe, saw 119 or 129. I think it was 129 targets. I don't see any reason why Achan does not see 129 targets this year. You know, like if I were the Dolphins, I would literally feed him, you know, 8 targets a game, 9 targets a game. So, I don't know. Again, it's not going to be some guy I target. The weird one for me because I don't like Kenneth Walker. He's at the back of that tier for me, and I think Chase Brown has to be above him just because Chase Brown also has the massive receiving upside and the better offense. And then it's in half PPR. Achan versus Henry for me is actually kind of hard. Vegas really, really likes the Ravens offense this year. Vegas thinks the Ravens offense is going to be an absolute banger. And if that's the case, Derrick Henry is going to be an absolute banger. Derrick Henry has a top 12 floor with a top 5 ceiling. So I have a really that's the hard one for me. If I end up making that choice, I'm going to be stressing. And I've had to do that a few times here, and it stressed me out a little bit.
I'm gonna be the sucker that fades Derrick Henry again. And it's
Yeah.
only a mini fade. It's only a baby fade. I'm not saying I won't draft him at all, but I am not as in on him. I feel like what was that guy's name? Max Kellerman, uh, from First Take, constantly prognosticating Brady's demise. Oh, Tom Brady's over the hill. He's done. Right? Like I feel like that with Derrick Henry now. And I was on the right side of history for so long. I think his age 30 season
Mm-hmm.
I was in. And then last year was the first year I was kind of out, and I just kind of put out trades for him. that
Hmm.
weren't successful. But I feel like that he might just be a trade target for me this year.
I mean, if he doesn't have that like mega monster league winning game in week 17, his season would have been a decided disappointment. I think he would have finished either as a fringe RB1 or outside the RB1s. So, I don't know. How would we feel? Let's put our redraft hats on for a minute. This would not be a redraft start it ever had, but how would we feel about it if we did? A Marion Hampton, Josh Jacobs, Justin Jefferson, and a Emeka Egbuka. How would you feel about
Um,
that if that was the base of your
I,
team?
I mean, that's a very good base of your team. You have unbelievable variance in
Yeah,
that wide receiver room.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
like this is going to go great or it's going to be zero.
yeah, absolutely.
So I would be targeting like I don't know, safer wide receivers, guys that offer some floor.
Yeah, this is one where, even though he's not a safer guy with floor, but this is one where I would love to throw a Roma Dunze in there. If I can get him to come back around, we'll see. He's usually not there at the turn. Um, hmm. I'm definitely going to go wide receiver at the turn, but you're sort of at the mercy of who comes back. Um, Unless if Tootin comes back, this will be like a Tootin roster. You know, sometimes Trevion falls there. Um, I do want to keep taking shots at those guys because I have not drafted a lot of them because I'm always at the back of the snake. But I wouldn't mind throwing one of those guys on here.
Hey, Bucky Irving's in that area too. Do you prefer Tootin to Bucky Irving?
Oh yeah, no, no, it's not even close. It's not even close, dude. Bucky, I do not like the whole conversation about we're load managing Bucky. Fucking what's his name? The head coach there, Bulls, does a whole lecture today about we call Bucky and Gainwell the 1A and 1B. We don't have a second string running back. We brought him in to lessen the load on Bucky to make sure we get to the playoffs healthy. The exact same language McVay used before going 50-50 with Corum and Kyron last year. And then it's also already been decided Gainwell's the passing down back because he's so much better than them. There was the beat was on that. Now the beat's not right about that necessarily. Sometimes they just make shit up, but that's what the beat seems to be saying. But that was a direct quote from Bulls. We don't have a second stringer. We have a 1A and 1B. And then the team also said, and we really love Sean Tucker in short yardage work. To me, that is a monster. That is Gainwell coming in on passing downs and taking a percentage of the rushing work. That is Bucky doing the 20s to 20s work. And then that is every so often, Bucky hasn't taken a carry inside the 5 yard line in 2 years. So that is probably Sean Tucker coming in there and taking eating his lunch. Oh my God, Terry McLaurin in the mid-fifth. What is that? You know what I'm saying, dude? I just envision this horrific three-headed monster where none of them can truly break out at that point.
Todd Bowles is a terrorist, man. He ruined my fantasy season last year.
Yeah. Yep. 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 Yep.
I'm actually surprised he survived. I thought Todd Bowles was going to get canned for sure with the Bucks missing the playoffs, but they kept him for some reason.
It's actually pretty shocking. Yeah. He's not a good coach, in my opinion. Good defensive coordinator, not a good coach. So yeah, dude, that's kind of my thing with Bucky is like, to me, if I'm going to take one of these guys at pretty big opportunity cost, because in my opinion, like I said, Christian Watson and Romo Dunze could be wide receiver 15, somewhere around there. If both of them hit really well, both of them at periods have been like fringe wide receiver ones or high end wide receiver ones in Romo Dunze's case over the last couple of years. Like if I'm going to take a swing like that, you know what? I don't like him this year at all, but DJ Moore has slid a little bit. If DJ Moore's there, maybe we'll go, okay. So I definitely want Rome here. I've taken so much Jordan Tyson, I kind of want to chill out on it. I've been getting high on Marv, but Marv is falling. I just did my whole rant about Parker Washington, but that's going to mean Ted.
I think you need to take Parker Washington.
Okay.
I think you need to take Parker Washington and stand up business here.
Okay, well, okay. Wait a minute, who was that? Okay, Roma Dunze, and then this will be Parker Washington. Okay. If it'll let me click him. Seriously? Why has it been doing this shit? Okay, whatever. Take him. It's at the top of my queue. God, that isn't... What? No! I moved him to the top of the queue.
Who'd you get instead?
Tyson. That's fine, but I moved Washington to the top of the queue. Look, it's stalling out on me again, dude. Oh, you know what it's got to be? The stupid internet. Oh, no. I don't even know. Can people strip this off my screen if I type it in? It's going to be covered, right? Okay. Oh my
I
god.
got you dealing with tech issues has got to be one of the funniest things to me.
Dude, do you understand like how nerve-wracking it is for me to do this in front of people? I have to. It is like having like a pornography issue or something. I hide it from people. Uh Use passwords and add website. There you go. So I can stupidly fingerprint it. Oh my god. Yeah, dude.
At least you were on the end of the snake, so you had plenty of time to get back in the lobby.
Yeah, but dude, you have no idea like how embarrassing, how truly embarrassing that is. So that's a bummer. I would have loved to get Parker Washington there, especially after my diatribe about him, and then I would have tried to come around and stack him with Trevor Lawrence. But that's not how life works, dude. You don't get to be happy in life because it's all a joke.
Well, you lucked into some Shuck instead.
I'm
Can I
total.
interest you in some Tyler Shuck?
Hey, I actually am very high on Shuck, and I love Jordan Tyson, dude. You can get 2 top 10 receivers this year in the 6th and 7th round of redraft. You guys should be doing that. You absolutely should. For everyone that has been sickened with the price of rookies the last few years, which I understand, they got too expensive and it burnt people. For everyone that has felt that way, though, I highly recommend coming around on some round 6 Cardinal Tate if that's your thing. If it's not your thing, 7 Jordan Tyson. If that's not your thing, round 8 Mekhi Lemon. Maybe those aren't your guys, that's totally fine, but you have 3 really affordable options to take a swing at league winning upside late. But I would have taken Parker Washington there, especially because you can stack him with Trevor Lawrence back here.
Cardinal Tate is the most expensive of those options, and he's in potentially the worst offense. I don't see the league winning upside there. I truly don't. But
do you remember?
Best of luck.
Now, different level of talent. Do you remember who the last guy we had that exact conversation about? And do you remember who his play caller was offensively? When was the last time we had a conversation where you said, the offensive environment sickens me, I don't know who's throwing him the ball, I can't take him in the 5th round?
It was Malik Neighbors, but
it was Malik
Cardinal
Neighbors.
Tate is not Malik Neighbors.
No,
he's not that level of talent.
No, he's not.
Even close.
No, he's certainly not. That's absolutely correct. That would be dishonest to say he is. Do we have any stacks here we can chase? Not really. So this is like
a Kyler Murray roster.
Yeah, that's like waiting for that tier of Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Tyler Shuck, yeah. That's what we'll try is for 2 of those guys. I'm not gonna chase it up here. You know what though? Oh my goodness, he is going higher and higher, man. Chris Godwin continues to get pulled up boards. Okay.
As he should. I much prefer him to the Alec Pierces, Cortland Suttons, and Jaden Reeds of the world.
Yeah, I want to take a bigger swing here because we're not going to have a big quarterback. I want to throw some upside in here. We're going to do Kyle Monangai for sure. That's who I want number 1 on my thing. We're going to reach on him a little bit, but that's okay. And we'll do a weird turn here because I'm going to try to get Kyler. The next one, we'll do Kyle Monangai and Jordan Addison.
I think a Justin Jefferson roster in best ball is the only reason to click Jordan Addison.
Yeah, because
you're already betting on a positive outcome.
Yep.
Kyler Murray.
Yep, and that's what we'll try to ideally at this next turn, and we're reaching on him a little bit, so I think we can get it. I would love to just go Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield there. We'll see if we can do it. I actually feel pretty good about this. I mean, I prefer Cortland Sutton or Pierce, but for this thing, we'll just get the majority of Kyler Murray's passing yards. We'll get it taken care of. He's on vacation right now with Jordan Addison as we speak, actually. They put up a post together today.
Oh, you think you're getting into trouble? Do you remember last year when they did the Germany game, how Jordan Addison disappeared? The team couldn't find him. He was out past curfew, messing around, and they suspended him for the first half of the game.
I like
Very
how
interesting.
Banging pale-skinned women was treated like an emergency. He didn't disappear. What are you talking about? He found a large-breasted German woman and had a great evening, and then showed up and played a football game because he's a multimillionaire in his early 20s. He's a healthy, red-blooded American male.
He was very good in that game too.
Yeah.
He was potentially the best wide receiver on the team. No, that was a good Jefferson game.
Yeah, man, because the chamber was empty. He was ready to go. What? How dare they? I'm so sick of the anti-male stuff these people do, dude. Let him do his thing. Have you've seen that video of what's his name? Who was the dude with the mustache? Coached the Rams, the old school guy, Jeff.
Oh, Jeff Fisher,
Jeff Fisher.
Mr. 7 and 9.
Yeah, you've certainly seen that clip of him cutting the dude who brought a girl into his room and he had to cut him for it. It's hilarious. He goes, "I've."
No, I haven't seen that. That's
He's
awesome,
like he's like huffing through his mustache and he goes, I told you guys I was pretty clear about the no ladies in the dorm thing, and I feel like I was pretty clear about that. He goes, not the first time I've had to cut a player for this, but I wish you luck. And the guy never got in the NFL again. Lost his one shot at it too.
Yeah, he didn't have the opportunity to be part of his 7 and 9 ball club.
No.
I'm seeing Jonathan Brooks at the top of the EQ here. Don't like that for you.
Oh, if he slides, yeah, dude, I'll take him. But he's not gonna. He's been picking up steam. I don't think he's gonna slide. That is going to be another one, man. You have every right to come back and trash me for it. Again, so my opinion on that is very simple. I think if Jonathan Brooks is 100% healthy, he's a significantly better player than Chuba is. That's it. That's the whole bet. There's nothing fancy about it. There's nothing too in-depth. I just think he's a much more talented player. So, and I think he might be healthy. Big if after 2 ACLs. It was 1 ACL, it failed. But big if, but that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, that's putting a lot of stock in college games from 3 years ago. But
yes.
The world seems to think Chuba just is a bum now.
No, see, I don't think that. You and I have both fielded a lot. Okay, this would be a great turn right here. Don't mess with it. I get the Emeka Egbuka stack and the double Kyler stack, and we can hunt a little Jalen McMillan later. And actually, we can that opens up Hawkinson and Otten as late tight end, which would be great. Okay. Very happy with that, actually. Those are 2 guys that I think are really fairly priced for this quarterback meta where everyone's chasing guys up the board. I think both of these dudes should turn in a pretty good year this year, especially in best ball where we don't have to predict things. Baker Mayfield had 41 touchdowns 2 years ago. I don't know how people so quickly have like completely forgotten that there was a minute where Baker Mayfield was tearing up the NFL. He was in MVP discussions for a period of time.
I don't think anyone's forgotten it. He was just so bad last year. Yeah. I think it's on the board that he just is not.
He's just done. You think he might just be done? Yeah. No.
I don't. That's not what I would bet on.
Yeah.
But it's a very real possibility, and it's my main hesitation with the Egbuka click.
Yeah.
I am still clicking Egbuka, but I do that knowing full well that his quarterback might be trash now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see, dude. He needs to stop playing through the injuries. The hard part is, right, the rules in the NFL are if you're on the field, we get to judge how you play. You don't get to go back retrospectively and go, well, I wasn't really healthy, I didn't really make it. That's not really how it works. If you take the field, we get to have an opinion about what happens when you're out there. So, that's just the way it is. To me, though, when you look at what his 2 years were before that and what that year was, I'm more inclined to say it was injuries and bad offensive coordinating. The other thing is, I think Zach Robinson's actually a pretty good OC. I think he got really screwed with the quality of his quarterback play the last few years. Like Kirk Cousins, Achilles, can't do anything about that. Tua was coming in. I guess he's not there with him. Penix, third ACL tear while he's manning the ship there. I think I maybe that's part of it too. That I'm higher on Zach Robinson than consensus, and specifically Baker's fit with Zach Robinson. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of where I'm coming from too. And then Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt is one I'm coming around on. I think I want to take my swings there that he gets the job. I just don't know. You're right. I think the floor there is also 0, but I think I want some Bill in redraft this year. Especially, I think his price has stayed reasonable all offseason.
I think Bill's got more juice than Rachaad White, man. Like Rachaad White, we kind of all know what he is at this point.
Yeah. Do you now? You've been really annoyed with me for these picks this year. So for this process that I've been doing this year. So maybe you're correct. Maybe you can hammer it. Do you see any merit to? You remember, right? My big thing, systems over goals. I love implementing a system rather than trying to target a specific thing. I have a way that I put different problems I'm trying to solve in fantasy into my little equations, and I try to kind of do things that way because systems last forever, right? A single year weird stuff can happen, and you're going to miss stuff when you do that because you're kind of going through life algorithmically, and that's not always how random chance works. But for me, like when I'm evaluating these ambiguous situations, I try to look for who has the solid role. Like who has a role that I know what it is. Like why am I so in on Mark Andrews this year for the Ravens? Because the Ravens have had a ton of moving parts, all this weird stuff's happened, but they brought in like a Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell coaching tree hire, and they love tight ends there. They broke Mark Andrews off massively, and he's still one of the most targeted guys in the red zone in the NFL, and there's no other receivers there. To me, he's very clearly their red zone receiver, their second leading receiver. They paid him like he's a top 5 tight end in the NFL. I believe they're going to use him like it. So it's like, to me, I think there's a role there with Rachaad White. I think he's their third down back, and I think he's going to take a big portion of the rushing work. I don't know how much, but certainly a portion. He's not going to take zero. And I feel like with the other guys, we just don't know. Katron Allen is a really cool goal line back. He's actually the leading rusher over Saquon Barkley at Penn State. It's a Penn State history. He's actually Penn State's all-time leading rusher. Okay, so a little bit of a tough call here. I want my Mark Andrews share here to anchor my tight end room, but I'm also thin at tight end, but I like the Chris Rodriguez price tag back here. What do you think? Would you go Andrews Rodriguez or Andrews Goddard?
I think that you can Frankenstein tight end later. I would just take the Rodriguez.
Or would you go Rashid Shaheed over Rodriguez? I kind of want to keep mixing in Rodriguez in case he wins that role, you know?
I mean, I can't see your full wide receiver room, so you got to make a judgment call, man.
Okay.
I can't read it.
We'll go,
I can see it, but I can't read it.
Oh, that's not good. I hope other people can.
No, it's fine on the stream. It's just in the call. You are just a giant pixel.
Okay.
So that's why I was saying I'm looking at the stream to like see what you're doing.
Okay, so but that's like a really important part of this ambiguity thing, right? We brought it up with the Jacksonville receivers, and then with the Buccaneers backfield. I feel really good about who's their third down back is. I believe at the minimum Gainwell's their third down back, and I think he's going to eat into a portion of the rushing work, right? Do you see merit to that, or is that maybe me being like lazy so I don't have to really think things through? I just sort of slap this filter on there that I know what role he has and that's what I'm going to do. Because maybe that is like too late. Maybe that's too simplistic and it's not putting the time in to really.
The reason I don't like those picks is I think that all of those players aren't good in their low upside.
Right.
Right. Like, what is the best case for Kenny Gainwell this year? I think he's just like a weird third down back that catches a couple passes, right? Like I don't see him being a league winner near the end. What's the best case for Rachaad White? He's part of the Washington Redskins backfield, and he's just never been a very good player in my eyes, right? So like, I don't know, like there's merit to drafting those guys, but like to me they feel much more like a fluff piece that's on your redraft bench that you would never feel good about starting. Versus like that's why. But I mean, when you get down at this point in drafts, it's hard to find those guys that are talented. Like there's a reason that the good guys go early, right? There's merit to it. It's just kind of like, especially those third down backs I perceive as not very good football players, and that's probably what I think about Chris Rodriguez too. Like I don't think he's very good, but I am much more willing to just be bullish about Liam Cohen and take blind hacks at it.
Yeah, seems like he's a Liam Cohen guy, huh? Just seems like.
Well, I mean, the prior relationship in college, like that's definitely a factor. Like I wasn't drafting Chris Rodriguez before that, and then I was like, hey, you know what? There might be smoke here. Like I'm pretty sure it's Tootin. I'm pretty sure Tootin's the guy you want there, but after last year where I wasn't taking shots at that backfield, I'm taking shots now.
Yeah. Well, for this too, it's like he also just sort of gives me some like floating points because he's going to get touches no matter what. I just don't, whether or not it's league-winning touches, who knows? But he's certainly going to get some level of work there. Yeah. Just interesting to me, though. That is how I've sort of been trying to dive into that, and I think that argument cuts both ways with the Jags, right? Because Brian Thomas Jr. is their ex-receiver, without a doubt. They're not going to have Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers running outside so they can slide BTJ inside. I don't think. I would be very surprised, at least, if that's how they did it. Yeah. Okay, I would like Juwan here as a last stack. I probably should have taken Shaheed there, honestly. I kind of needed the wide receiver more than the running back, but that's okay. Could do Strange. Gadsden, Brett Whitefield, the fantasy points film guy, as Ted has actually been pointing out every time I brought up Oronde Gadsden this year, absolutely panned him as a blocker and said that he does not think there's any chance he is the starting tight end over Charlie Kolar, who's an excellent blocker at the position. So that really stuck with me. But the fact is, Oronde Gadsden actually had one of the great tight end receiving seasons in rookie tight end NFL history. So I'm still sort of interested there, but I thought that was pretty noteworthy. He doesn't think he's going to be able to get on the field because his blocking is simply inadequate.
His blocking is inadequate, and I think that he's just going to be on the field less than he could be if he was better at that. That's all it is. He's like the Ertz archetype. Like Ertz was a terrible blocker too, but he's a good pass catcher. Like so, there's room for that. I just especially with David Njoku there too. Like it's I like Gadsden more than I'm drafting him.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God, it's hard. I think in redraft it's just to stay away for me, but I do just wonder. I think there's like just some chance, dude. McDaniels loves those like positional edges and that cool scheming that he always does to open things up a little bit. I think Gadsden's a really good candidate to have some really cool designed short work out of the offense. I think he could end up being like their big slot at times this year. I just don't know what that's worth. Certainly for redraft, I don't know. For best ball, I think you're going to get some spike weeks, but it may just be one of those things where like we saw what his ceiling was early, and that's all it is. I don't know.
It's also a weird year for the Chargers where everyone kind of got injured, right? And they got forced into the highest passing volume in the entire league, which I don't think anyone had on their bingo cards.
Yeah, probably not, dude. I don't know, but that was interesting. They said exactly what you've been warning me about you can't get too over the moon with him because if he can't block in McDaniel's scheme, he's just not going to see the field. And then apparently Charlie Kolar was a pretty excellent receiver in college. So Brett Whitefield, who is a pretty ardent film guy, he is like, he's hardcore. He's the guy that I really like the juxtaposition they have there because Scott Barrett, the CEO of Fantasy Points, he says it all the time, I don't watch football, I watch spreadsheets. He lives in the spreadsheets for fantasy. He does not really believe in the actual watching of the game. That's not his thing. Brett Whitefield is the opposite. Brett Whitefield hates spreadsheets and he watches tape and grinds tape and then they compare notes. And it's actually really interesting, right? Because that's how you get it's what would be called a multidisciplinary approach in like a scientific endeavor. And Brett Whitefield is adamant that Charlie Kolar is their starter. And if that's the case, like that's sort of interesting for fantasy because he's the best combination of blocking, run blocking, and receiving. Maybe he ends up being relevant. I do think one of them does. I don't think it's going to be Njoku. I think he's just sort of like a vanity ad there. But I do think Gadsden or Kolar, if they get enough of a role, will be fantasy relevant. I just don't know if we have any way of knowing that, and it might take like half the year for someone to really get a hold of it.
Well, Kolar should be freed. I don't think I've ever seen him be drafted in one of these rooms, right?
Nope. And that's what's sort of interesting for like redraft is like your last pick just to see like if you do a tight end 2 roster and you just want a guy that maybe floats. What if he comes out and has like 7 or 8 targets? Dude, I looked up Jonnu Smith's like big year with McDaniel was awesome. So he loves using his tight ends and he loves specifically his mismatched tight ends underneath. And
that's like Darren Waller last year too. Darren Waller's another guy who's like more of a receiving tight end that can't block. Like it's possible.
Do you remember Waller had like crazy spikes for a minute? It wasn't very dramatic, but there was like a period where Waller was going off. I remember I started him in a few of those games.
Yeah, man. Coming off a rap career, I scoffed at people who added him. I scoffed at people who threw fab at him, and you know what? He just scored fantasy points.
So, like, do we think Gadsden can be as good as post Iggy Azalea rap career Darren Waller? I think so. I don't know. Time will tell. I would love the discount on Bryce Young here, and I do prefer AJ Barner so much over Auden that I would take him if both of them make it back, even though.
Why does it always come down to an uncorrelated Bryce Young? Like I feel like that's the meme. Like Bryce Young is just like that weird tack on.
Yep, because I won't take him for under no other circumstances will I be like, ooh, Bryce Young. There's no reason to. Certainly loved. Ooh, Tank Dell. I keep trying to get him back here. He's probably going to go pretty early. He's starting to go up pretty high. I would have to leave a third quarterback on the board here. I really do want another good receiver, but we do have the Ted Hurst Baker stack. I loved the report that came out today saying Ted Hurst is their plan to replace Mike Evans. And they are very similar physically, not talent-wise, nowhere close talent-wise. Physically, they're very similar players. I got kind of excited about that. We haven't gotten a lot of Fernando Mendoza, so this would be Otten Mendoza for me. Stack up Baker. Third QB. Nice stable 3-3 build on the ends there. Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Fernando Mendoza, Mark Andrews, Strange, Cade Otton. And then we'll hope one of these receivers is there for us on the comeback. Oh, and then Elijah Surratt was getting steamed today. That was awesome. That blurb on him from the coaching staff was great. Again, probably doesn't mean a whole lot. Like, we're sort of chasing ghosts here, but
Yeah, we are in the prime Coach Peak season.
Yeah.
Coach Peak Index is going to get a lot of information.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. And again, like, I'm a slappy. Right? You sit there, and whenever you get a little ping on a guy that you're high on, you sit there like an idiot and, gorge yourself on it. But Ted Hurst, I do think, is a really special athlete. That's a dude I do want. Probably not for redraft this year, but I'm excited to see him play. It's not even that I think he's going to be some whatever, I don't know. His tape was so cool. He is like a 6'4" gazelle out there. And then Elijah Surratt is a grinder. He's not necessarily like a traits guy. He's just like looks like a really good football player to me. I think he's going to end up being Lamar's number 2 this year for the receiving room, not his number 2 in targets. I think that's Mark Andrews.
I'm more on Surratt than I am on Ted Hurst, man. I think Ted Hurst, if he is supposed to replace Mike Evans, he'll just be a sacrificial X that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, I think he will be. I think that's most of because he's so fast, he keeps defenses honest. But with the Baker stack, I like him in the back. I certainly prefer Tank Dell and probably even Surratt in a vacuum. But with Baker, I'll take him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, always good to correlate in like the 15th round of best ball.
Yep, the Rams and Bucks play Week 17. Should be a nice high-scoring game. Maybe that's the week that Ted Hurst has his coming out party.
I think when the Rams played the Bucks last year, that was the Teddy Bridgewater game.
Oh God, yeah.
I think standalone Monday night game, dude. The Monday night games were so bad last year. There were so many just stinkers in prime time.
Yep. Any stacks here? Not really. If Ted Hurst goes, I could throw a Jack Besh on for Fernando Mendoza. Man. I actually like Sean Tucker here because, like, say something weird happens in the backfield and Bucky gets hurt again, then you have, like, Sean Tucker and Baker. Maybe that's something. I don't know. And you're
trying to look at the stream to see your queue.
Well, Ted Hurst.
I mean, I'm so boring. I'm just looking at Braylon Allen there. Like, oh, Braylon Allen.
Well, I would take Sean Tucker. I think I would take Braylon over. I think that's like how I would have it there. Sean Tucker, though, I do view in kind of a different thing because like he had some really good performances when the guys ahead of him go down, and like who knows with Bucky? Dude, Bucky's just a very weird thing. I know they're saying he's totally healthy. It's a very weird situation. I don't feel great about it.
It's sad how far we've come from the Bucky rookie year to the current state of affairs.
Oh, you traded ETN for him and rode him all the way to a championship. That was like bad ETN too. You got off ETN when he was a 3rd-round pick. Okay, so there goes my boy, Ted Hurst. We have to make a back-to-back pick here. I do want another wide receiver to throw on there. I don't really want to like take as much Keenan Allen as I've been taking. But it's mostly a function of not being super high on anyone back here. Okay.
What about Brandon Ayuk, man?
Is he on the board?
Brandon Ayuk's on the board.
All right, we're going to do the meme. Brandon Ayuk, get in this room. All right. Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Fernando Mendoza for your quarterback room. Shopping on the cheap. I actually don't mind that at all, though. Omarion Hampton, Josh Jacobs, Kyle Monangai, Chris Rodriguez, Sean Tucker for the backfield. Pretty strong backfield. If Monangai hits there, you're getting a great trio. If Tootin gets hurt, you're getting a great trio. If Bucky gets hurt, you're getting a great trio. I love those 3 guys can all give you points, but then any of them can go nuts if the thing falls right. Our first Justin Jefferson anchored room of the year. Happy to get a Mecca Igbuka 5 or 6 picks past ADP. So we go Justin Jefferson, Emeka Egbuka, Romo Dunze, Jordan Tyson, should have been Parker Washington there, the stupid thing froze, Jordan Addison, Jawan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, and then Mark Andrews, Brenton Strange, Cade Otton in the tight end room. Look, nothing too crazy tonight, guys. Just a quick stream. Doesn't seem like anyone felt like stopping by. Saw a few viewers in and out. That's totally fine. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've been enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. Ted, call your shot. Bucky Irving, where does he finish as a running back this year? Running back what? Being drafted as running back 25, 26 right now.
I think he finishes as the RB 18. I think
RB 18. Okay, so you you think he should be going in like the 4th round, or finishes like a 4th rounder? Fair
I won't take him there, but I just can't help but be a homer. I'm a Bucky slappy.
Okay, guys, Discord is linked down below. Substack is linked down below. Please feel free to like and subscribe or stop in the Discord. Ask questions about your rosters, your draft position, talk fantasy, whatever you guys want to do. And we'll be back tomorrow night.